Moods, man. See, according to my screen here, this is supposed to be horizontal. It's supposed to be a video that's filmed properly. Hey, Moods, man, I think, and all of my subscribers and viewers and commentators must be so upset with me. I think I might have forgotten to post for the first time this year my weekly on Sunday, who the hell is Martin Pariseau? I think I might have forgotten 2 days ago. Well, I can tell you that I did go to the pool in my new community for the first time yesterday. And there was nothing exciting about it. And there was a lot of same old kind of behaviors with some slight extremes of some. I paid full price, and if I would have used the locker, it would have been $1 that you don't get back. $1 that you don't get back. That's a lot. There was an interesting conversation with a lady who had a particular worldview, and she's older than me, but I found her attractive, until she speaks. And she works in a school, but not in as an educator. But she had an interesting life story, but even when I challenged her to change the subject and if she'd give a response that it wouldn't be Jesus related, and it's just not possible. And we talked about the things, like I could give an example of family members or people I knew that do things that are unforgivable. And I explained again, if you forgive, instead of letting it go and moving on with your life, but if you forgive, you lose your humanity, when things are unforgivable. And I had to explain that to her, but sometimes I didn't tell her this, but sometimes I see the way religious people treat children, and they are unforgivable things. I mean, you don't go to heaven for stuff like this. And again, I'm using human standards, where all of you would defend each other because you think it's okay to rewire a human brain to disconnect from reality and not learn the human thinking tools they'll need for their generation, and then you'll be gone. You don't care, right? You think you'll be in heaven while you created more of a hell on earth for your kids, and an inability for them, as the innocence that they were born as being, and then heard by you. And again, you would think, oh no, we don't do that. No, you do that. Again, it's based on human standards I'm talking about. Anyways, speaking of the military, do you know these cluster bombs? And I'm sure there's religious people that approve of them being used, by the way. There's a lot of religion in this nonsense from Russia that people are trying to make us think are the real bad guys, but I think the bad guys is the ones you can see now, like the USA and Ukraine, that actually want to use these. They might say, well, they fought so hard, they lost so many they need to win this war. They need to win this war. There's no winners in war. If you were human, you'd know this. And but it's kind of sad because, in a way, like, let's say a country's trying to join NATO right now, and they would say, we approve of, in their application, of cluster bombs. They would be refused. So here's the hypocrisy, right? You really know that this is a long-term secret plan of the elites with the USA and Ukraine involved, some of them involved, and some of the people in the USA. And it's not okay. So automatically, you can tell the people that approve of this type of weapon, which again will kill your kids more, not just, even if it's careful, if you want to be careful after the war is over, winners and losers should say, we're not human. Maybe our kids will become, so let's make sure they survive by cleaning up all of these cluster bombs. Let's see you guys do that. Prove me wrong that you're not human. So automatically the USA and Ukraine should be barred forever from NATO, right? If the elites weren't hypocrites that somebody who thinks by human standards can easily can easily see. Anyways, this is supposed to be about, speaking of the Navy, is, speaking of pools, you know, like, the YMCA, you know, was just an additional trigger of pools, you know, from other ones before, too, in BC. And I think the YMCA is like, they're running their operation like, you know, like they're in the Navy. And they should, same thing with the war, you know, they should like stop having the presidents or, you know, the elites talk on the news. They should go talk to the people, you know, like small town, village people that are either in these war zones or close to them on either side of this war. Although, you know, both sides have both sides, so there's like 4 sides in this war, and I'm just counting Ukraine and Russia, really. And so, you know, you're always at war with yourselves, whether you're in the same country or not anyways, because that's all your species knows, dominating by force and slavery and human rights violations and human trafficking and death and destruction. That's your species. And you pathetically know it. That's why you create these scenarios where you're blessed and you're going to heaven. And that the people that you create sins hurting in yourselves, you know, you're hurting yourselves, you're hurting them, their sins. You convince yourselves that it's actually an anti-sin and you're actually going to heaven for it. And you didn't get better and stop doing this, you got worse and you're doing it more. So interview village people, and especially some that who have kids that are forced to go and die for the elites. Go interview them, put them in the news so that we can hear the real story of your failures and all of your unforgivable things, whether you're on this side of the war, number 1, 2, or 4. And that's just those 2 countries. There's plenty of other sides with other countries. And it's one of the reasons wars don't have winners, because you don't even have the conversations to know how everybody is too dumb to have developed sentience and sapience at levels where they would all be on the same side and agree. Because if you evolve sentience and sapience, which religions don't allow you to do, is you will, and I'll speak about that conversation with the religious lady in another vlog, is religion prevents you from developing the maturation process as a human to, you know, reach human levels, sentience and sapience. So it's not like you can get what I'm talking about. It's not like people noticed. I didn't post that part of my... If I didn't, I think I didn't for the first time. So I'm doing this more for me. So hey, I'm... Speaking of religious fundamentalism, I'm listening to the Elvis channel. And I'm thinking now I'm going to start posting some of my Elvis recorded songs again. And I'm going to do that with, you know, Facebook groups. And sometimes you get somebody that's upset. Let's say it's not a super well done song, but some people like it. There'll be some that'll be like, "This is Elvis, yeah, only Elvis." Do you know that the Elvis channel on XM radio plays these remixes of some of the songs? Like, I like the big orchestra ones, and I haven't heard all of them, but some of the remixes, I tell you, you're ruining an Elvis song. So if I say this, they're still going to play it on the Elvis channel, and they're still going to promote and play, and, you know, people that are part of the Presley religion, like family members and things like that. Lisa Marie, I mean, I don't really need to hear her sing. And just because she died, you're putting it more? It's not better than some of my Elvis recorded songs. So what is it about? Yeah, it does sound like it's about a Presley religion, which, you know, will feed your kids for generations and generations that are not Presleys, but that work for this bigger Scientology, let's make Elvis the new Messiah kind of thing. At least it'll be a more modern Messiah, by the way. Okay, hey, I'm a little bit off topic. Let me think about what I wanted to say here. Well, I tell you, I'll just go back to just finishing up what happened with the Sirius XM radio. So then I switch, you know, when that Elvis remix comes on, I switch to 80s, 70s, you know. Really enjoyed some of the comedy channels today. Um, so when I'm listening to 70s, I come up on this Stephen Bishop On and On song, which I'd heard before. But guess what happened for the first time is I actually elevated my sentience and sapience during that song, and I'm pretty sure they're above average levels already, but I started referencing the outside world in a way that will make me a better person with others, because in that song, you can listen to some of the lyrics and figure out, what it was that made me think this, but I was imagining, let's say, a single mom that tried love a few times in Uganda that I met. I didn't try love with her. She's not my type. But, the loneliness she would feel and still try. And then I realized, well, it's not just me still trying to give people, primates, a chance to behave in sentient and sapient ways. It's all of you guys, such as with love, and you get disappointed because others weren't honest, like they weren't with me when I was there, or they don't have the skill sets to succeed in a relationship, or when problems come, they go away, or whatever it is, and you just, sometimes you're not even sure what happened, and that's kind of not fair. But to think of their solitude as well is there, and they are also trying to find something meaningful, like we all want as social creatures, meaningful connections, and yet they, like me, have to deal with the 99.996% of them. And I don't think I realized it in that way before, that I'm not the only one that's suffering from your own HSD. I'm the only one that seems to be able to have conversations about suffering from species alienation, disconnecting from my species, but I'm not the only one who suffers from what you suffer from, therefore giving me species alienation. But your own HSD is you all suffer from it, and your kids will more and more. It's an accelerating phenomenon, and it's accelerating the Anthropocene. It's accelerating the decline of your ability to use the higher functions of your brain. It's making you less and less human, although you were not really before. It's still making you even worse. I'd like to, sometimes I would almost want to vent about how you treat your kids by sticking it to you really bad as the so-called adults or parents or educators or social providers, social welfare providers, or whatever it is. Almost like I'd want to be like, man, giving you the karma that you deserve. And yet I'm not like this. I just want a job somewhere where I'll help a few people and probably try to see that if it's the people that will allow me to film it, so I could help more people by just having it free access on the internet. And this is what my not-for-profit society has written in its charter, in its mission statement, in its goals, is to transparently offer life skills lessons and make it that it's not more than another daycare, and that I don't get paid. And I still haven't found a community in BC to do this, where I know it's a community, because I'm not going to keep jumping through hoops or feel victimized as I try to give it. So, yeah, so I would be happy just doing this instead of, like you might see in this movie about to come out, about, more than 2 million, and it's still growing, number of children who disappear every year to undergo horrible, horrible things. Like if I could get a job to go find the people that need to be punished for this and do some of the punishing myself, I would. But those extremes of behavior, like let's say violence or retribution, don't come naturally to me. And even if they would, it shouldn't be a priority. The priority of what I can offer you as the Martin Pariseau is the role modeling that I'd like to share transparently and successfully with you, which I have before, but nobody asks me, even when it's with their own kids, or ask themselves, why are we, with the success that he's having, why are we not asking Martin to spend more time with our family? Still, I'd be happy to just do that part as a way to kind of contribute to, I can't improve the human condition. You guys are the majority, you win. but I can, in the responsibility of my life, find the most productive way to be part of the solution, even though it will fail. And my theory explains that I was born at a time when tipping points were already passed. I still choose to do what Jesus would do.